Ukrainian forces are on high alert as Russia penetrates from the north. It's day 1517 of Russia's operation in Ukraine. Let's dive deeper. Today we have lots of updates from the northern front. Last time I reported that Russian forces in the last couple of weeks have intensified their attacks along the entire northern border, where they opened several new fronts and continued expansion of previous advances. As a result, they have now covered almost the entire Sumy and Kharkiv border. And as I reported previously, Ukrainian armed forces reacted by deploying additional brigades to the northern borders. The defense of the northern border is different from the eastern front. Here there are lots of forested areas, which both work in favor and against them. However, due to the wide adoption of FPV drones, Russian forces are using DRG attacks to penetrate through the gap of Ukrainian defense and weaken the rear. So the geography of the northern front works extremely well for Russia. And in the last 24 hours we are starting to see the result. At the Vovchansk front, Russian forces were able to make a significant advance from the eastern flank. According to the latest report from the front line, Russian forces using the dense cover of forested areas entered Okremivka. This advance was also indirectly confirmed by the footage of Ukrainian forces shelling Russian positions via drone. Furthermore, there are also reports about them attacking all three villages. However, at the moment no advance has been confirmed there. On the other hand, Ukrainian forces are performing localized counterattacks. Sources reported they want to recapture some of the good fortification to slow down the Russian advance. However, there has been no confirmation of their success. Now in the Sumy region, Russian forces in the last 24 hours had success southeast. According to the latest report from the front line, Russian forces have used the forested areas and Wash to reach Teratutina. As fights are taking place within the village, it is considered a gray zone. Footage of Ukrainian forces shelling Russian forces within the village was shared recently, confirming the recent advance. Simultaneously, Russian forces also captured the railway line south of the village. In addition, a little north, Russian forces have captured this section of the village northeast of Novomytrivka. It is likely that we might see more Russian advance from this section, because Russian forces are shelling Ukraine's rear intensely for the last couple of days. Ukrainian sources claim Russian forces will launch a proper offensive along the entire northern borders to put maximum pressure on Ukrainian armed forces. As a result, they have put their forces on high alert. As I have said, Ukraine's defense is vulnerable to DRG-style attacks in the north. But it will greatly depend on which strategy Russian command uses. Now let's quickly look at the Kostiantynivka front. In my last update, I explained to you how in order for Russian forces to advance much quickly, they will have to develop the northern and southern flank of the city. But I also said it was much harder said than done, as Ukraine's resistance near Chasiv Yar was strong. However, it seems like the Russian command is trying to develop the northern flank from the east. In the last 24 hours, they launched an attack from Pritichne and reached the outskirts of the city from the north. This was confirmed by footage of Ukrainian forces shelling Russian forces around here. But as the fights are taking place, we will have to wait for confirmation of the advance. Subscribe for more frontline updates. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.